Hello, everyone. Welcome to my channel. This is an educational channel, and we check out various aspects, theories, discoveries, concepts that you're probably not familiar with, things that um, the powers that be don't want you to know, things that have been suppressed out of your purview. And this is a feature called the Q-tip of the spear. And on this feature, we just hash out a little bit about the info war, what's going on, especially over the last couple days, last day. It's a recap of some of the events, especially through the lens of me. Um, and I don't really do social media. Um, so I get my info from podcasts. So, um, I think for me, that's the prudent approach. Uh, whatever I've done spending on social media has just been maddening, and just there's way more idiocy on there. Um, I think you could really damage yourself for paying attention to too much of the social media. The podcasts are, can be damaging enough, but the people that are on the tip of the spear can really be helpful. Um, and mainly, I look at a lot of Rumble and a lot of the soft disclosure people and their rivals, the independent crowd of full control people that are on Rumble. A few other things. Dan, the I don't mean to be a dick person, and some of the massive Matt a little bit, and quite a few other shows from time to time. And I think it's all been helpful for me. I mean, it's nothing that I don't. I've been red pilled for 35 years, so there's nothing that's earth shattering for me. But it's still good to be reassured, and to kind of get the context. And sometimes you know you're in a weak moment, and you get carried away, like some of these things that these people do just can really piss you off. And it's good to be reminded that you're watching a movie. How does that make you feel? I like to think about that. How does that make you feel? Because that's exactly how it was supposed to make you feel. And that is a reminder that you don't have to feel that way, because there's some type of control that's behind this. And at the same time, there's no need to harp on, oh yeah, well, so you just want to sit on your ass and do nothing and eat popcorn while the good guys take care of everything. That one does not imply the other. And what is it exactly that you're going to do that's any different than what I'm going to do? You're going to, complain and yell and, post on social media or say something on social media. You're not going to move the needle any more than somebody who's sitting on their butt eating Cheetos or whatever. So, um, the way that you can probably move the needle is by sitting down and meditating, going to the gym and working out, maybe doing some yoga and improving your flexibility, trying to figure out the proper diet for yourself, getting yourself healthy. These are things that you can do while the full control stuff is going on. And then if the rug is pulled out from under you, then you're ready to go. You're able to pivot and figure out how to proceed from there. I have heard some kind of troubling things about, some from some of the full control people and some of the devolution people, that are, well, if it could be that the boss is just deserves an Oscar, and he's just pretending to be a good guy, and he's just walking you right into a technological dystopia. And people are like, well, if that's the case, then you know we're in really big trouble. And I just don't believe that. That's not the case for me. It's because I would just be back at square one where I was 35 years ago when I woke up and and recognized that I was completely alone in a world where everybody thought that the emperor was wearing clothes, and I could see clearly that he wasn't, and but nobody took me seriously at all. So you're back to that. um, you know, um, there are still things that you can do. There are still approaches that you can make. But to try to head that off at the pass, um, you know, the boss and the 17th letter need to be checked. I think that the check that we're missing is this Roman origins hypothesis for the New Testament. The a cursory dig, a dig that goes 6 inches deep into the ancient books, will tell you that the Bible, the New Testament of the Bible, was written by the Romans. It was a psychological operation. Christianity is a myth. The whole story is fictional. The Romans were trying to um, run a psychological operation against the Jews, who had been a major thorn in the side of the Romans for over 100 years, constantly insurrecting and revoluting and having terrorist attacks and false flags and all this stuff. And so the Romans took advantage of the fact that they were waiting for a Jewish Messiah, and the Romans created a Jewish Messiah who was a Prince of Peace and believed in being deferential to the Romans, and believed in taking shots at the Jewish traditions by overturning the tables of the money changers and castigating the um, Jewish merchants who were selling small animals for the sacrifice, and telling his Jewish followers that they needed to abandon their families in order to follow him, and so on. And Paul is even worse. So that was the idea. And you can figure this out by reading the works of Josephus, because Josephus was issued by the Roman royal family, the Flavian dynasty. Flavian meaning golden, like the golden age. And so the 17th letter and the boss need to be confronted about this. They have to know that this is true. They have to know this. Um, and so make a stink about it. Now, um, that's just kind of my contribution here because nobody else seems to be talking about this. But other than that, I feel like the folks out there are very helpful for me, and I I thank them for the work that they've done. And even if I disagree with them, at times, um, all in all, it's very reassuring and positive to be feel like I'm being informed by people who are perspicacious, and you know it's very helpful. But I do think I have something also to contribute that is missing because they're researching modern stuff. You got to go back further. Okay, thanks for tuning in today. Have a great day. Like, share, subscribe. Peace out.